friends, I'm Rainy. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another Victober reading slash crafting vlog. I am recording this right on the tails of recording my last clip for Victober week 1. So it is Thursday, October 9th as I am filming this. And I am getting ready to have a 4-day weekend, which is thrilling. I am taking my friend to the airport tomorrow morning, and she needs me to pick her up at like 9:30 in the morning. So I was just like, I'm just gonna take the day off because it's Friday, and I don't think that I have any plans for the entire weekend. Oh wait, I do. Sunday, I'm singing in the choir at church, but that, is in the morning, afternoon. So the rest of the time should hopefully be me time. I'm sure my family's going to want to do something at some point in that time frame, but most of the time, hopefully, I'll get lots of reading and stitching in. So I am just keeping on with the things that I was reading last week, but I'm hoping to make more progress in vice versa. When last we met, I had just finished chapter 4 of Vice Versa by F. Amstay. That is a recommendation from Jess from Dickens and Docs, who is one of the 10-year anniversary hosts this year. And it also is going to deal with education because a boarding school is involved in all of the plot line. And I think for now that, and I feel like it would also go for Roy's fantasy prompt. I realized that I didn't have a fantasy book on my TBR after I filmed it. But I think this would go with it because like people don't switch bodies. So that's fantasy, right? So I'm using it. So I'm gonna try to get a little farther in that this week. I need to catch up on the Beatitudes for Tiffany, Chrissy, and Dia's live show sometime this weekend. I can never remember if it's Saturday or Sunday. I think it's Saturday. So hopefully I can get those two read. And I need to catch up in some sonnets, which I probably can do today. Those don't take long, which I think is why I've just kind of like not done them as much as I should. So I'm gonna at least try to get a few read today to kind of catch up to where I feel like I should be in that. Other than that, I would like to start my Sherlock Holmes The Speckled Band short story maybe this weekend. And also I have been reading Middlemarch, Hester, and Our Mutual Friend. So I have a lot of reading to do this week. And I will try to check in periodically with you. I didn't really do that in my last vlog because I didn't really have time, honestly. But hopefully, since I have a 4-day weekend, maybe I will check in and let you know if I like met goals or anything like that. So other than that, I need to get to work today. It's, Thursday, but it's my Friday, so that's exciting. And hopefully it'll be a quiet day and I can get some reading done at work too. That's always my hope. But yeah, I will check in with you at some point. Okay, have a lovely weekend. Bye. Hi, friends. It is now Monday, the 12th of October, and I finished a book. Yay, my first finish for Victober. So excited. I finished Hester by Margaret Oliphant today, and it was 5 stars. So good. And I don't know if it's because my friend Joe and I have been reading a lot of Margaret Oliphant's books, and we both just thought this is like the best one, writing wise, character development wise. the plot and even like the outcome of the plot and everything was just like so tight and well developed, and just everything was great. The writing style was great. Everything was great. And usually in Margaret Oliphant's works, and I'm not like a big like analytical reader, but there's always something, it seems like, that we're like, did that really need to be there? Or that sentence, that paragraph was a little uh, clunky, or, here and there, there'd just be things about the writing style, or even sometimes characterization that we're just like, that could have been done differently, or I didn't really like that, whatever. But in this one, it was just everything. Everything was great. Now, and I say, like, maybe it's just because we have read so much, so we have enough to compare it to. Because I say that because a lot of people in the Discord, which I don't get on the Discord hardly ever, so I don't know, but Joe would tell me that some people in the Discord like DNF'd it, but she wasn't really sure of the reasoning because, she didn't want to be spoiled and all that. But so I'm thinking now I would like to go back to the Discord and read why people were DNFing it. The only thing I can think of is that the beginning was kind of slow and meandering. Like, it was a lot of setup and a lot of character introductions and things. But even that, I thought, was great. Like, it was just very Cranford-esque to me, and I love Cranford. It just seemed like it was just like this fun way to like have a setting for a town. Like, there's a whole, like, I almost think about it as an apartment building of all these people that are dependents of this Catherine Vernon, but they're all kind of somehow connected to her family, but they are poor basically, and she is like giving them a charitable place to live. So it's like a town of all people in an apartment building. It's not an apartment building, it's a house, but basically that's what it is. In my head anyway, that's what it is. And I just think that was like a really clever setup for having all of these people in close proximity to each other without it just being like your typical town in a novel. So yeah, I just thought from the beginning it was really clever, and it only got better from there. So, but I can see maybe people that are not used to reading her books, maybe they would think that it was just going to be like nothing really happening. So yeah, I guess I can see that, but I'm gonna, now that I have read it and finished it and don't need to be spoiled, I would like to go back and read and see the comments of people who DNF'd it and why. So that might be the plan for the rest of the day. So I just wanted to tell you that I finished a 5-star book. It is going to be on my list of favorite Victorian novels now, pretty sure. Might have to try to actually find a written copy for myself and read it again in a few years. But yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised. So that's it. I'm just going to keep plodding along, and I will come back and let you know if I've finished anything else. And at the very least, I will update you at the end of the week about what I read in addition to Hester. All right. Bye. Hello, friends. It is now Friday, the 17th of October, and I figured I better just pop on here and finish this because we're over the week mark in week 2 of Victober. So I thought, it's Friday, I better finish it. And the reason I haven't updated you much is because after I finished Hester, I pretty much had a book hangover and I didn't pick up anything else for a couple of days after that. So, but yesterday I got back into it and I read a few more chapters in Our Mutual Friend and a few more chapters in Middlemarch. Both are rereads for me, and I have been listening to them on audiobook, but at least with Middlemarch, I have been having the nice cloth-bound classic version and some tabs near me, and whenever something comes up in the audiobook that I want to tab, I stop and I tab the um, the physical copy, because I just realized that I'm not going to get through all the things that I want to get through if I read everything physically. So I'm utilizing audiobooks when I can. Some of them I can't, so that's fine. But I figured, these are rereads for me. I can use audiobook, and I have the physical book if I want to mark something. Um, so the exciting thing about Middlemarch is I have been buddy reading that with my friend Alicia, and when she first asked me if I thought that she would like it, I thought, yes, I remember loving Middlemarch, but I do also remember that there are some parts in it that are kind of sloggy, kind of dense. There's a lot of medical politics involved in some of the sections and some church politics stuff. And, just it can be, George Eliot can be a bit dense as far as her writing style goes. Very, very like, the word that's popping out to me is cerebral, but that sounds like a fancy word. But yeah, it is. It can be like she can get very philosophical, I guess, is the word I want to use. And goes off on some tangents. So, I mean, they all fit into the book, but they're kind of like she's just going off on her own little rant in some cases. So I was like, oh, I think she'd like it, but it's long and I don't remember everything about it, so I think she would. So we are probably almost halfway through Middlemarch at this point. And she messaged me last night and she's like, I am now firmly in love with this book. And I was like, oh, good. And I hadn't started reading our sections for the day. And I started listening to them and I'm like, oh, I can see why she's now firmly in the Middlemarch camp now, because there is just some romance happening and some dramatic things happening now in the lives of a few of the side characters. I don't know actually though if I would call them side characters, because I feel like everybody that she brought into this book has a big subplot with them. So they're all like their own plot lines that seem to hold equal weight in the end. So yeah, I don't know if I can really call them side characters or not, but the part that she was referring to refers to Lydgate, who is a young doctor who comes to the town of Middlemarch, and he gets involved in a lot of the medical politics side of Middlemarch, and like the old school people that want to just keep it the way it is, and then some people that want to really put religion in this new hospital that they're building, and he, who agrees with that, who doesn't agree with that kind of thing. So those parts can get a little sloggy, but he has his own little, side story with a lady. So that's been fun. And then the main characters of Dorothea and I don't know how to actually say his name. The lady that is reading the audiobook is saying Casorbin, I think is how she pronounces. I always called him Casaban, when I would read it, when I read it the first time, just with my eyeballs. Or actually, no, I think I did listen to it the first time too, but must have been a different reader. But yeah, so I don't really know how to say his name, but the main characters there are in the midst of their own drama that is going to be, I believe, a big shift in the book. Um, in probably just a few chapters. So that has been fun. Other books, I have gotten a little farther and vice versa. It was a little bit of a slog for a while. And this is the one that is kind of the original Freaky Friday. And a father and a son swap places because of some magic talisman thing that they have. And we have basically just been following the father in the son's body pretty much the whole book since they've switched places at a boarding school. So, I mean, that's been fun. That it's been interesting and funny to see the different scrapes he gets in because he in no way is even trying to pretend that he is his son, except for he's not telling anybody that and my friend and I who are reading it together, my friends and I who are reading it together, Dia and Tiffany, we think that the magic is preventing him from telling anybody that he is not actually his son. But all his mannerisms are still a older man mannerisms and the way he talks and everything, which is getting him into even more trouble at the boarding school. So that's been fun, but we're probably more than halfway through the book and we have not gone back to the son in the father's body. And I'm not really sure why that is. I think it would have been more interesting if we had gotten maybe a dual perspective type of a thing. But yeah, but it's still a funny book. It's just maybe not quite what I was expecting, and I think from hearing the messages of my friends, they kind of have similar feelings. But we're just going into it with this is cute. It's nothing. It's nothing that's going to rock the world. Although apparently it did in some ways because we now have 2 Freaky Friday movies and probably many other instances in popular culture with switching bodies and things. So it did apparently make a splash, but I think because it was the first, at least I think it was the first instance of that concept that we maybe we look at it from our modern perspective now and we're like, oh, this could have been done so much better, because we're used to another way of doing it. So yeah, interesting though. So that is really all I have to tell you. I still have not started Love and Life by Charlotte Mary Young yet. That is my plan for this weekend, I think, is to try to start that. Because I think that is my last book that I have to start for for Victober in the second half of the month. And now that I have finished Hester, I feel like I should replace it with something else. So I'm going to try to get that done. My Tiffany's Patreon is reading this as their group read, and their Zoom discussion about it isn't until the 1st of November, I believe. So I have some time, hopefully, and it's not a terribly long book. So hopefully I can get that busted out here relatively quickly. All right, I'm going to get off of here and edit this. Thankfully, there's not much editing because I didn't do much B-roll. I might throw in a few pictures of things here and there that I did, but I didn't film any video clip content. So yeah. But yeah, I hope everybody had a good first half of Victober because we are now firmly in the second half of Victober. And I will talk to you next week. All right. Bye, friends.